This is Candid Conversations with Dr. Mayfield, a podcast that resources families and friends with tools to have important conversations about mental and emotional health. This show is sponsored by Mayfield Counseling Centers, helping you find clarity, hope, and purpose. Here's your host, Trevor Sheeran.
Thank you for joining us on Candid Conversations. We are so glad that you are joining us today. I am Trevor Sharon, joined as always by Dr. Mark Mayfield.
Hello, hello, hello.
And today we want to, essentially just brag on Mayfield Counseling Centers for a little bit.
It's okay.
So, Dr. Mayfield, we are starting a new campaign in 2020. Can you talk a little bit about what that is and why we're doing it?
So the first year that we've ever done a new campaign for 2020, for the next year, which is kind of interesting and fun. We brought on a new development person. So being able to help us kind of think through what it means to be a nonprofit, what it means to be in the community for the community, what it means to really champion this idea of what we started and what we're called to. And so this year, our theme is going to be living healthy inside and out, and helping Colorado Springs figure out their mind-body-spirit connection is really the big piece. That's what we do already, but the living healthy inside and out is a campaign to really bring more awareness to the mental health, but also, a shameless plug, it's going to be our desire to plant a third center this year. We have school districts that have asked us to consider District 3 and District 2, which is down south in Colorado Springs, but really District 49, where your wife works. We've tried to build some relationships there, but I think there's 60,000 homes going in out in that part of the city in the next 10 years. Yeah. And there's nothing out there from a service perspective.
There's very little infrastructure in that area of town. A lot of people, but very few, even restaurants. There's no offices in that area. And so it seems a little bit disproportionate. And I think being able to plant something in 49 is going to be really helpful to a lot of people in that area. Because, I don't know about you, but I am less likely to do something if it's further than 20 minutes away from my house.
In most places in Colorado Springs, even if it says it's a 12-minute drive or 12 miles, it's going to take 25 to 30 minutes because of the infrastructure. So I think our desire has always been, how do we plant a counseling center in a neighborhood where it's taken care of the school system and the churches around there, the faith groups, the businesses, the neighborhoods. Yeah.
Because we're involved in all of those in our current locations. We're doing work with the schools and the school administration, doing trainings and supporting the students as well.
Supporting
churches by allowing them to send congregants to us through agreements that we've set up with those groups, and also to do the same training and support for their staff. Right. And then for businesses as well, we've been the first, well, not necessarily first responders, but we've been the first mental health response for two companies, at least near our north office, that had an employee or a suicide on their grounds. Yeah. And so we're actively doing this, and we just want to expand it to another location.
Well, people always ask us, why a nonprofit counseling center? And I think it's something that we've been learning how to express because it is such a new framework. Yes, there's clients that still come and pay a fee for service. Yes, there are insurances that we bill and take, but I think the big part of it is, how do we create access to quality mental health services without as many barriers as possible. So we want to remove as many barriers as possible. And so a lot of that, we raise money for our scholarship fund. And the goal every year is to raise around $75,000. We've never hit that. Yeah. We've come close, but that $75,000 goes to somebody who comes in and says, I can't afford that. Yeah. What options do I have available? And we offer the sliding scale or the scholarship fund, and they apply for it. And the scholarship fund really basically allows them to come in at a $15 or $20 rate, and then we still take care of our staff because we really want to make sure that our staff is taken care of. I'm not sure if our listeners know that the average stay of a therapist is, 9 to 18 months,
yeah.
And that doesn't bode well for consistency and ongoing good therapy. And so most of our staff have been here for
a couple of years,
2.5 years, granted, we've only been open for 4.5 years.
Right.
So,
well, and I think it's important too to recognize that even though we do have some limited insurance options, a lot of our clients are on a cash basis, on a pocket basis. And we've worked really hard through our fundraising to make sure that we aren't continually raising our prices for those services. And we've tried to keep it at a very steady amount, which we have. I don't think we've done any fee changes for the past 2 years, which also is not very common. It's pretty frequent that those change.
Yeah, up $5, up $10 or whatever.
Yeah.
We want to keep our costs low. But also, everything that we do in the community doesn't get reimbursed.
Right.
And
like my position, like what we're doing here today, or the trainings that we do, those aren't
reimbursable. And we're not saying that it has to be. That's just part of the reason we're a nonprofit. So we go to a school and do parent talk. We go, be a part of this panel or that panel, or we are activists in this area or that arena. Those aren't reimbursable things, but we do trainings. We'd love to do mental health trainings for faith groups or mental health trainings for businesses, and we don't want the cost to fall on them.
Right.
And so that's where the nonprofit piece comes around, and that's how we raise money for those things.
Yeah.
And it's always been our desire. The Springs Mental Health Summit, which is coming up, and actually it'd probably be after this episode.
Probably, yeah.
So it already happened, but is really geared towards helping the community become more mentally and emotionally aware and how to be good caregivers. We lose money on that every year. And I'm not saying that because you should feel sorry for us.
Right.
I'm saying that just because that's what we've chosen.
Yeah. Because it's an important part of what we're doing.
It's a give back.
In our mission and vision to be able to provide those resources for our community. And even a lot of what we do with the Monday Minute and Candid Conversations and our other shows is a free resource for the community, not because we're trying to sell anything, but because we think that it's important to, if we can help our community be healthier, in mind, body, spirit, it changes the rest of the community. We talk about that in like family work too. Like if one member of the family is growing and changing and actively working to be better, to grow, it has an impact on the rest of the family as well.
I don't have the exact statistics right now, and so I apologize. But I read an article a couple weeks ago that said that the suicide rate in Colorado as a whole is going up, which sucks. However, El Paso County is going down.
Which is big because it used to be El Paso County was the hot spot.
Right. And so that just tells me that everything that we're doing, and I'm not saying it's just us, but everything that we're doing in collaboration with the schools and the churches, other counseling organizations, things that everybody else in this community are doing, whether we're doing it in lockstep, which doesn't have to be that way, or on our own, it's making a difference.
Right.
And that's a big deal.
And it's going to take all of us.
Yep.
So if you haven't caught on already, this episode is really us giving you an opportunity, especially here at the end of the year, to be a part of what we're doing here at Mayfield Counseling Centers. Mark, you have a concept that we've shared on our Facebook page before, and I think it's really powerful, especially for some of our listeners to hear. Would you mind sharing that again?
Well, I think that it's the power of 20, and I think we came up with that, and it's still, we're still trying to get traction around it. But this idea that somebody spends $20 a month without really thinking about it, right? I mean, how many Starbucks or Chick-fil-A for us here in Colorado, Chick-fil-A runs, or Starbucks, or, Dutch Brothers, does it take to hit $20? It's probably
one or two, depending on how you're doing it.
Depending on what you do, how tall, how big, or whatever. But then also, how many subscription services do you have? I don't pay for my Netflix because my father-in-law, gives us his.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. But we're part of Amazon Prime, and I think that's like $14.95 a month or $20 a month. And so it's almost like pocket change, so to speak, for a lot of people that we don't think about. And you and I have talked about this quite a bit, is what would happen if we consolidated those things into people giving a $20 gift to Mayfield Counseling Centers. And, you know, a one-time $20 gift, okay, that's not a whole lot. But you pair that with 100 people, or 500 people, or 1,000 people, that could turn into quite a bit.
When I was reading, the population of Colorado Springs right now is somewhere like 222,000 or something like that.
We're 590,000.
Great,
or something
way
like that.
higher than I saw. Yeah. But I was thinking, like, man, if I could convince every single person to give $1 single, that would be a whole lot of money.
Or $10 or $5 or
and just realizing that it doesn't have to be this $100 or $1,000 or $10,000 donation. It can really just be hey, you know what, I really have appreciated what you guys are doing in the community, or I had a friend who came and see you and I know how important that was for them. I want to give you a one-time $10 gift, or I just want to give $20, or maybe you have the ability to do more, or you know somebody who can.
Well, let me put this into perspective. So we know that at kind of a budgeted schedule, that it costs $100,000 to open up a new counseling center, and that takes care of rent for the year. It takes care of our director's stipend salary for the year. It takes care of utilities. It takes care of the office furnishings, marketing costs, all that kind of stuff. And somebody looks at me and goes, "That's not a lot." No, it's not.
No, especially to open a building.
Right. So $100,000. But think about what Mayfield Counseling has done this year. And again, we'll toot our own horn for a second.
Right.
Is in this last year, we've grown, in the last 2 years, we've grown 279%. In this last year, we've grown 75% from last year. And we're on track to do between 14 and 17,000 appointments this year. So think about, that's between two counseling centers. So each counseling center is doing, 9,000 appointments a year. You add that now to a new counseling center that is going to get ramped up to do 8,000 to 9,000 appointments a year. Think about the ripple effect.
Yeah.
So if we're talking about a way to change our society, a way to change our culture, investing in something like this is actually going to be a good return on investment, from the ripple effect.
Yeah, totally. So we want to encourage you to get on board with what we're doing here. You know that we plug Mayfield Counseling Centers all the time on this show because
it's sponsored by
that's
them.
why we're here.
Right.
But also we don't ask you for donations, and that's purposeful. We don't want to be the show that's constantly asking you for money, because I am not comfortable with that, and I don't think it's appropriate.
And I don't listen to shows that do that all the time either.
Right. So this is our one for the season,
once a year,
where we want to invite you to get involved. If you want to do this, or if you just want more information,
or if you want to sign up for our newsletter that's going to start in November,
you can email us at candid@mayfieldcounseling.com. You can also go to our website, mayfieldcounseling.com, or you can give us a call, 719-452-4803. I almost forgot it there for a second.
If you go to our website, we're reworking it right now, but if by the time you go, it's going to be probably a pretty easy transition to go, I want to get involved in counseling, or I want to donate, click here. But you can go that way and donate through the website as well.
Yep. And again, if you have any questions about it, if you have anything that if you even want to look at our projects list, things that we are actively raising money for, you're welcome to ask for that and contribute to specific items on that list if you want to. We've done that before, and it's been really helpful. And if you have only been a listener of Candid Conversations and you've never been to Mayfield Counseling Centers, but you don't feel like now is the time for counseling, or maybe you're involved somewhere else, but you do want to see it, feel free to let us know that as well. Email us, again, candid@mayfieldcounseling.com. I'd love to be able to give you a tour of our building and share a little bit more about our mission and vision here.
And the greatest compliment you could give us is to share this podcast, or not this episode only, but share the podcast on with your friends. Give us a rating on iTunes or Google Play or SoundCloud, and spread the word, because we really believe in what we're doing.
Yeah. thank you for joining us. We are thrilled to have you here, and we look forward to our conversation next week.
Thank you for joining Candid Conversations. If you would like more information, you can email candid@mayfieldcounseling.com or call 719-452-4803.